Alright guys, we just got in this Recon 895. We are going to be going to town on this one. I'll walk you guys through exactly what we'll be doing. So a brief walkthrough of the boat. We have 4 hatches in the back, and then we have a just-in-case box. What we're actually going to be doing is bringing this just-in-case box flush across the boat, and then we'll be adding in an HDPE spacer right here. That will allow us to kind of extend this deck a little bit farther. So we are going to be doing memory foam on the back. We are going to have a recessed trolling motor pedal right here. All new hatches, custom Aquatraction throughout the entire boat. We are going to be doing HDPE hatches along the front here as well. And then if you look here, we're going to be adding in 3mm protection pads. You're going to see some marring on the boat. We'll be covering that up, and then if the hatch ever does come into contact with the boat, both the boat and hatch will be protected. We are also going to be putting in some brand new stainless steel latches. They'll look really good. One issue that we're seeing right now is we can't open this hatch very easily. That carpet just gets frozen in there, and it just kind of sucks to open. We're going to start gutting this out and then get it scanned for some new hatches. Alright, so we got the hatches out, all the attachments, we'll call it. So we are now going to start gutting out this carpet. It's weird, the cockpit is like screwed in, the floor is screwed in. I'm not sure what that is about. That's their lamination process. It's just going to sink this floor down to the hull, but I've never seen that before. Right, after a lot of chemical scrubbing, we got the entire front deck mostly cleaned up. Just got to clean up underneath the trim there a little bit. It looks like they sanded these decks down. As you can see, it's a different shade compared to that one. We might have some, as you can see there, won't look as pretty along the inside edges of the hatches, but the hatches will butt up pretty close to it, so it'll be okay, I think. Recon's looking good. We got most of the areas all gutted out. We still need to do the cockpit yet. What we're going to be doing right now is scanning for new hatches. So these will be HDPE hatches. So once we get all these designed, we'll get them cut tomorrow and then installed, and then working on the Aquatraction. Alright, so we have half the front deck scanned. You can see that contour of the rod locker there. What we're going to be doing is scanning the rest of this, because I couldn't scan this front face and then the rest of this wing door over here, so I'm going to have to create a secondary file and combine these two. Alright guys, the interior of the Recon's looking good. We got all the carpet out. So we actually recessed those screws a little bit. So it looks like that's how they do their lamination process. So they have the balsa wood core, and then they have this top cap, and then they use screws to fasten it in place. And so it's kind of interesting on how they do that. But we have everything cleaned up, and they did sand the decks just for the adhesive, I assume, to adhere to for that carpet glue. And so we are milling out hatches right now, and then we'll get these installed later today. Milling out HDPE right now. I got all the files prepared late last night. So we're milling them out today, and then we'll get everything assembled and maybe tossed in the boat. Everyone sees the end result and thinks it's cool. However, getting there kind of sucks. So you can see the CNC actually lost access and actually shifted like 2 inches over and 1 inch up. So this $200 and some odd sheet of HDPE is now completely scrapped. So sucks, but it is what it is. We just got done milling out this sheet, so now we're actually labeling them right now. So this is for the Recon, labeling all of the hatches so we know which ones go where inside the boat. Recon 1/4" HDPE. This is what will get fastened to the sides of the 3/4" board. The HDPE is super stout, super functional, and about 1/3 of the cost compared to fiberglass. So this is what we end up with with the Recon hatches. We have a 3/4 inch board. We had a mill down. I believe this was 3/7/5, 3/8 of an inch down. And then we milled a half down. So this is where the piston arm will actually rest inside, basically inside the hatch. So it'll get bolted somewhere down here. And then that arm will be hidden accordingly. What we're gonna do is we're going to put 1/4 inch flanges on the exterior of it, and we're going to screw in a whole bunch of screws, evenly spaced black stainless steel screws, and then we'll have a functional hatch. Why we milled this down to get our proper height is because this is where it will actually rest on the boat and will seal. If we have this a 3/4 inch board all the way across, it will be 3/8 of an inch too high, resting inside the boat. So this is why we cut this channel in, to ensure that the height is evenly across, and then the gasket seals on this surface. This rod locker is going to be pretty interesting. It has an 8-inch drop, like a front plate, and so once we do that, we need an angle to it, and it's exactly at 4 degrees. So as you can see, there's a little bit of an angle there. What I'm going to be doing is putting this in place, and then the plate will then screw into this 4-degree angle to get the angle correct. So now I recessed some holes, and now I'm just going to flip it back over. Already pre-drilled these to get the correct distance, so it's flush on this end, and then I'll screw those together, get the other side mounted, and then we're able to put that front plate on. Alright, so now that we got these installed, I only have one screw in the front, and now I'm going to take another one and then mount the other ones in the back. Just like that. So they're all flush, and so I countersunk them with a V-bit. So now as we put Aquatraction over top of it, everything will be hidden. You can see here, I cut this channel in. This is where the hinge will get recessed into. So these are the hinges that came with the boat, and we're going to reuse them. The reason why is that boat over there is so troughed that a standard piano hinge won't actually work in it because it'll just bind on itself. And so we are going to reuse these hinges, which aren't really normal for us, just for the fact of the piano hinges won't work in this boat. And so we're going to now just mark out, drill out, and then recess the screws on the back side, and then use machine screws and bolts, and then fasten it together to the actual hatch. So just like that, we have all the screws recessed now. So now we're going to take this and then bolt it onto the hatch, like that. So it's a little bit, it's right at the barrel height, and so now it'll mount perfectly inside the boat, completely level. Know how to use your damn tools. Freaking idiot. 1/4 inch boards are cut. I separate them out. You can see that they're orientated differently. So this is holder at the bottom, holder at the top, holder at the bottom, the top. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's all in order. And so now it's super easy just for us to take the first ones, router them up, bring them over to the vent, start assembling them. And so this is how we kind of stay organized with this whole manufacturing process. All right, here's what we're left with. So we have triangles there to get our right pitch. We have our side walls, and then we have our front. So we're just going to use these screws, fasten everything together. So I pre-drill with an 1/8 inch bit, and I run a number 8 3/4 black stainless steel screw into the side of these walls. Just like that, we have a hatch. Super stoked. Flip this over. That's what it looks like. So we're actually going to put an Aquatraction pad right here. Probably put the Recon Boats logo right there. It's really good. What we also do right at the end is you can kind of see there's a little bit of a bulge. We're going to take a straight router, actually router the top of this to make it completely flat. And it fits absolutely perfect. Barely a gap there and there. This one turned out really good. So you can see see what I was talking about, how angled these are. So I went for this line right here on both sides, and then the hatch will actually be about 3/16 in towards that, the next hatches to the sides. Alright guys, the front deck looks really good. So we got the hinges all mounted except on that one. I just test fit them now. They look awesome. Super strong. What we're going to be doing is fastening these to the boat, and I'll kind of run you guys through a brief overview on that. So double-sided tape is our best friend. What we're going to do is peel this PSA off, or the protection paper. Peel that off and we're going to slide it into place. So how we're going to install this front deck is we're going to get this section done, that section, and then do this section last. Because the only adjustments is up and down, not left to right. And so as we push these out and fasten them, they actually kind of pull out, and then we can position this rod locker dead center. Alright, so we are getting the whole back deck all assembled. So we actually cut new 3/4 inch boards, two 3/4 inch boards for this little transition, so basically a deck extension. What we're going to be doing is fastening it all down to this new ledge that I put in. So it's just HDPE blocks that we're going to now screw down through the top of the deck. And so then we'll be able to cover it up with Aquatraction, look really nice. So we check the heights, everything looked good. We are now going to put more screws into this so nothing moves, and then we're going to fasten everything from the top. We are now ready for Aquatraction to get scanned. What we're going to do is scan the cockpit floor, of course. These walls are pretty marred up. We're actually going to put pads there too. We're going to put pads along the black areas all the way around the boat. Leading up through here, we are going to be putting Aquatraction, of course, here, and then these black faces on the side walls. We won't touch the gunnels, they're factory like that. They look pretty good. We have the back deck already scanned, and then now we're going to be doing the front deck. Bo's in the Recon right now, scanning all the surfaces. So, like I said, Aquatraction, all on the back of basically all the black surfaces will get covered. With the front deck, back deck will get 1/2 inch memory foam. That'll be super nice, super comfortable. And then we have a just-in-case box that we'll be throwing in there as well. Alright, Bo just got done scanning the cockpit, the front deck, the back deck. It's really cool. Just what this plotter can do. The guys have been kicking ass. We're on day 3 of this boat build, and so we have all the hatches installed, everything ready to go, everything cleaned, everything primed, and we are cutting Aquatraction today. We are going with memory foam on this back deck here and the just-in-case box. So this whole deck will get extra padding, extra foam. This will have our standard 6mm. We'll do some sidewalls in the cockpit. All the sidewalls, that black edge leading up to there and then up to here. The whole front deck will get 6mm Aquatraction, and then we'll be able to put the latches back in once we're all done. We just got the first sheet cut. So we went with charcoal gray on black. This is our topographic pattern hybrid. This is not normal standard. So what we did is we went with our 1/4 inch bit and then put a bevel on it. Then we went with our 1/2 inch bit, and then we routed out all these lines. So every other line will have a dark, a thin, a dark, a thin, a dark line running through the entire boat. About 80 pieces, actually technically almost 120 pieces with the 3mm black protection pads and then the memory foam. So we have a lot of installation to do, a lot of cutting today, and then we'll get this boat all buttoned up and ready to head home. Sheet number 2, you can see here that we went thick line, thin, thick, thin, and then we're running our beveling bit right now. Putting chamfer on, so you can see straight right there. That puts a nice bevel chamfer on it. I finished this at 2 a.m. last night. It was a lot of work getting all these files laid flat. This is our raw scan. So we have the front deck, we have the gunnels, we have the cockpit and back deck, just in case box, cockpit walls, and then the starboard side walls. So I started laying everything flat here. Got all the files cleaned up. Got them all aligned, seam lines added in, and then we added in a sick design throughout the entire boat. We got all the files straightened out, ready to orientate nicely inside the pad. Inside each sheet are 40 by 80 sheets. And this is what the final product will be. So we'll have a contour line throughout the entire boat. All the sidewalls will have gunnels. We'll have a Recon logo right on the front plate of the rod locker. And it's gonna look sick. So we are putting some new latches in this boat. New chrome stainless steel latches. And when I ordered these, I didn't look at the fine print. So they look super nice. They're white cap latches. However, I didn't read the fine print and it didn't come with any backs. So instead of buying backs, I was like, well, hell, we cut a shit ton of HDPE. Why don't we just make one? And so this actually fits perfectly. The holes all line up on the top. And then once we screw it together, especially with these HDPE hatches, it looks like one piece. The hatch is one piece, including this piece. It looks really nice once it's all assembled and finished up. So it's crazy what that CNC CADing you can kind of make with all these little parts and what we're in need of. We're cutting out the last and final sheet for the Recon. The guys are installing it right now. And so we're gonna be adding in some foam backer to some pads and then get this one all finished up. Okay, last and final touches on the Recon, we are cutting out some 3mm protection pads. These go underneath the hatches where the hatch wall comes into contact with the boat, if it ever does. So this will protect the boat and hatch. You guys are installing the boat right now, a little sneak peek. So the back deck and the just in case box, they have this extra memory foam. So this is 6mm Aquatraction installed on this anti-fatigue mat. This is a 1/2 inch foam. It's like exactly what it is an anti-fatigue mat. So if you're fishing all day, it'll be super, super comfortable. Closer look, we actually recessed that trolling motor pedal, and so now it won't slide around once it is in place. Came in this morning, and this boat is 100% done. I guess the only thing left we have to do is we are going to be putting a mount right here for rods to be able to rest right on this holder that we're going to be putting right here. So I'll show you guys what we're doing right now as far as making that, mounting it, etc. So we are designing a rod holder system. So you can see I inset this. We are going to be putting 3mm in here and then be able to mount it to this plate and then this ram mount. So this will get mounted to the boat and then this plate will get fastened then to that new rod holder system. Pretty noisy, but this is the new rod holder. So we're cutting on the outside of the line. We're going to be just filling up this whole sheet as much as we can get out of it. Then we'll have our new holders. So we have our holders now. We have a 6 holder, a 4 holder, and then we have the bases that go with it as such. And so I'll show you it all assembled. So I routed all the edges. Nice even cuts. See that little indent in there? We're going to stick some 3mm in there as protection for the rods. And so then this base will actually get mounted right to this with some screws. And then we'll have a functional rod holder system. So this will go somewhere right in here. So then you can put rods leading up this way. It'll be perfect. Here's the final product. loosen it up. So you can adjust this however you want. Get the right angle heading up that way. Added in 3mm protection pads all the way through. And everything will be protected. So we threw some random rods we had in there. This turned out really good. Really happy with how everything lays out. Now you can utilize all this deck space. So yeah, this boat is a wrap.